Gonna give you a couple minutes, grab a drink.
Yeah, grab a drink and get settled. I'm having a hot toddy.
Just water for me today.
I'm just recapping my thoughts on something I read earlier.
Yeah, Anna Marie told me an interesting piece of news earlier today that I think we're going to discuss a little bit later on, right?
Yeah, or sooner, if that will help the flow of things too, whatever you prefer.
Oh, it doesn't, but I'm okay either way. Today's going to be, let's get this guy, maybe, sorry, out of your vision there. Probably a shorter stream today.
A little bit shorter. Maybe like, 15, 20? Rather than our half hour.
Yeah, closer to 15, 20 minutes.
Yeah, just being happy that we're doing it and being consistent.
Yeah.
Even when we maybe are not feeling like the most
100%. Yeah.
So thank you for joining us.
Mm-hmm.
And always, if you have topics or ideas or suggestions, you can email us at inspiringconversation@gmail.com.
That's us.
Also, we can be found on YouTube. So if you want to revisit these conversations, they're on our YouTube channel. Like and subscribe.
Mm-hmm.
I like,
You have to say that.
Yeah.
They make you.
They make you. Or you get
You
fired.
start an account. It's part of the terms of service.
My Spanish-speaking students go like, when they were new to the country and first learning the word like, they were like, like and subscribe. And they were like trying to read it at the bottom. And then I did like a funny thing, like and subscribe, and they like lost it. They were like, "Oh my god, she watches YouTube.
Yeah.
Like,
she can do it.
She sees YouTube. How? Yes, it's possible." So yeah, super interesting thing that I'm loving reading about.
Yeah, I'm excited to hear about it.
And I'm sorry I didn't fully read this before.
No, it's okay. I've almost got the deck here molded well enough to my hands to pull a card, so I'm going to be doing that shortly, I think.
Okay, perfect. So grab your drink and join us for a chat and some tarot, some little spiritual evening.
Oh yeah, because we're basically, we're not even at 5 o'clock yet. I'm jumping the gun.
Yeah. You're getting so ready to go. Well, now it's officially 5 o'clock.
Yeah, 5
you made
o'clock
it.
right here, right now.
Yes. Thank you for joining us. Grab yourself a drink, hot toddy like myself, some water and swigs of whiskey as the feeling takes hold.
Well,
whatever you need.
There's only like a swig or two left in the bottle after I made your hot toddy.
Oh, look, we've got...
Hello.
Yes, it has been some
What's
time.
up, Connor? Good to see you again.
I feel like we've been back and forth as well.
Yeah, we're pretty consistent for the most part.
Yeah, but we got sick for a while, so we took a break.
Yeah, hiatus.
We were dying.
Yeah, I mean, we were incapacitated.
Yeah, nobody wanted to see that.
All right. Let's see what we've got. I'm about to pull a card here.
All right. We'll let the flow go.
Magician?
Again?
I know. I feel like I keep pulling the same cards.
Well, I feel like you just keep pulling the Magician. I think you've gotten this 3 times.
I know. I don't understand.
I think because it's you, and you're trying to get a message. The cards are trying to give you a message across to you, and you keep denying it.
Well, let's see. What does it say here? It is like, I think, the second or the third time I got the Magician here. Skill, diplomacy, concentration, will, self-confidence. The magician stands before a table where all of his tools are seen. These represent the 4 suits of the tarot: swords, wands, cups, pentacles. His double-ended wand emphasizes the motto of as above, so below. He is the connecting link between the spirit realm and the human realm. Hanging from his neck is the Ouroboros, which the alchemists used to represent infinity. The bracelet he wears carries other arcane symbols. He understands the connection between the elements of his own material and immaterial self. Air is the mind, fire is the spirit, water is the emotions, earth is the body. I have absolutely pulled that one more than once before.
But I feel like this is you. Like, if you're going to do a full spread on yourself, this is the first card that you pull to represent you in the deck. This is, like, your energy. Like, you have such spiritual capacity for things, and...
I could see that. I mean, that makes sense, I think.
Yeah.
I feel, very connected. I always have.
Yeah.
More so than any religion's ever been able to help me understand, or...
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
So.
Yeah, so I think, obviously there's probability, but that's not what we came to chat about. So we're going to leave that out, and we're going to just say that this is 100% your card.
I mean, it keeps popping up like this. I'm going to have to start doing it the way you do it and setting aside ones I've pulled so that I don't just keep doing the same one over and over again. There's a bunch of cards in this deck. That's a little ridiculous.
I know.
It's a little weird. Like, that's pretty,
I was actually thinking of putting some back in. But then I was like, no, I said I wanted to do it this way. I've never done it like this. Like, I'm sticking to it. I get very, I don't know.
Like stubborn?
Word. What'd you say?
Stubborn?
Yeah, definitely stubborn. Never would have thought me as stubborn. No, but yeah, when I say I'm going to do something like that, I'm like, I have to do it.
Yeah.
I have to follow through.
Yeah, it's more of a determined than stubborn, really, in that situation. Like a stick-to-itiveness. I hate that term. I don't even know if that's actually a word. I bet you it's in the dictionary now, though.
Stick-to-itiveness.
Stick-to-itiveness.
Yeah, it could be. It's probably. We've got all sorts of words added now.
Right, that aren't really words.
Yeah.
Let's see. I'll look up, see if stick-to-itiveness is in the dictionary.
I'm dying to know. Irregardless.
Oh, God, don't even get me started. Let's see. Stick-to-itiveness. So this is... it says it's from the American Heritage Dictionary of the English Language, 5th edition. It looks like Merriam-Webster's 2023 edition. Stick-to-itiveness is there. Noun, dogged perseverance, tenacity.
Tenacity. I like saying I have tenacity rather than stubbornness. I'm going to start using that.
Yeah,
that chain.
Determination.
I know, but it's like when you're describing, like when I am describing children to their families, and you're like, they're a leader, and you're like, they're a bossy ass bitch. Like, like you like find the charming way to describe the qualities you see.
Right, that you're like, it's not really a great glowing report here.
Well, and to be fair, it's
not
like,
a problem. Though,
it's not. Yeah, like it's not always the negative. It's just what we choose to focus on. But yeah.
I'm gonna put on my healthy socks while you shuffle your cards there.
Sure.
I got these socks that separate your toes because I feel like my feet are wide and they got squished when I was like little, so they're like too close together now. And these socks are supposed to help spread them apart. I think they're actually working because they feel a little bit better and they look a little bit straighter even. I'm just not great about taking care of myself in general. So like one more thing to do, and it's really something I think I can do it overnight, but I don't know. I'm worried about doing that because I'm on my feet all day at work. If it doesn't go well, like I don't want to lose a day at work because like, oh, I put on these silly socks before bed. I wake up, I can't stand or whatever, like that'd be bad.
That'd be really funny.
So, I've been doing like 10 minutes in the morning, 10 minutes at night, 20 minutes, you know, here and there, but like it's a lot to remember to do. And like I said, for somebody that's not good at taking care of themselves. But I've been pretty consistent with it because I have noticed improvements already. There is more space between my toes than there was before. Like there's actually some space between my toes now. We have the Knight of Swords for Anne-Marie today. That's cool.
Yes.
That's major, right? Oh no, swords, it's minor.
Correct, yeah. It's
But the
just like a
knight,
knight,
yeah.
yeah. So...
I'll hold that up in just a second here.
Yeah, no, you're fine. So let's see.
Sorry, that's what I'm
No, it always
thinking.
takes me a minute to like go through some of the background of it that it gives, you know?
Your book really goes in depth. Mine
It
has
does.
like some information, you know, like I feel like is a good starting point maybe. So we've got
So the
wow.
knight is the most potentially dangerous force of air, and the action of this card is to destroy something before it can be established whether it ought to be destroyed. Balin later killed his own twin brother, so that's supposed to be the knight, Balan, by a tragic error of judgment. The inscription on his tomb summarizes the essence of the card. The knight with two swords, he that smote the Dolorous Stroke? I don't know. Dolorous?
Yeah.
So,
Dolorous.
an intense intellect, a formidable opponent or antagonist, can be a fanatical friend whose loyalty is unquestionable, but whose actions and ideas are not practical. And then ill-dignified, clever deception, a glib tongue, a destructive force is unleashed, which can cause ruin, even death, if the neighboring cards are also fatal influences, like the Devil or the Ten of Swords. I mean, I don't think it's a fatal card that I've pulled. I feel like this is just my natural tendency. So it tells the story that this particular knight, Balin, was in King Arthur's court.
Yeah, I've heard some of this, I think.
So he drew from a magical scabbard a sword which could only be drawn by a knight without treachery or treason, a virtuous good knight. He then cut off the head of the Lady of the Lake as she arrived to demand her gift from King Arthur for giving him Excalibur. And then Balin justified his action by claiming that the Lady of the Lake was a sorceress who had destroyed both his mother and many good knights. So, like, a bit vengeful.
Well, yeah, that's common though for those stories, you know, like
Yeah.
there are times in cultures, even today, where that's like expected, where you're going to be viewed, you know, get looked down upon by the other surviving people in the community because you didn't seek vengeance for your blood relative.
Yeah.
You know, like,
Yeah.
it's sad, but then that's one of the reasons I'm like, man, humans are so messed up, and we really are. It's just, I don't know. I just think not that great. Unfortunately, like we have great potential. Like there's really great potential, but I don't know.
Well, I have like 2 air signs in my natal chart or whatever, like my moon and my rising sign are air signs. And I know that I can be very quick to respond, whether like in anger or just emotional.
Right.
Even in a positive, where it may not be the best course of action,
Right.
and that's something that I've really been like
Trying to
channeling
rein in a
in.
little.
Yeah, in every way, like not just like in anger, but
Right.
in just in the way that I communicate with others.
Yeah, no, I know what you mean. I think I've sort of been doing the same thing. Not trying to wear so much on your sleeve all the time.
Yes. So I feel like that kind of speaks to that piece of it, that my, almost like I have this like heat inside of me, even though it's an air sign, but this like this very quickness to be like, you wronged me, I'm done with you, adios.
Yeah.
And while I say adios, I will behead you. But not just people, like institutions and things too. It probably is a warning to be careful with our next topic.
Yeah. Yeah, well, go ahead.
They're
Yeah,
gonna come for me.
Uh-huh.
That's what that is. No, but I think I'm gonna look up that night too,
A major corporation wants to make our lives difficult, you can consider our lives on hard mode. Because they pretty much, I think, get what they want. They got the money to make things happen.
Yes.
I would not want the ire of somebody like that. Money,
No.
power.
No, not at all.
So what, who's on the list? What
Okay.
did you learn?
Yes. So this is from an article from the Associated Press that came out today. So it's free for anyone to read, and it's going to be republished in all major publications because that's how the news works. Yeah. So they have done a story with their journalist where they followed the, workforce that our prison complex is employing, thriving on, and how it is linked with popular food and food brands, and how these workers are very similar to slavery. A lot of them also actually working on former plantations or being imprisoned in these plantations, how they don't have workers' rights, they don't have breaks, and that they can be threatened with not getting parole and
effective slavery, in my opinion.
Yeah, so they are,
which is legal under the Constitution. Still, there's still a provision for it for
under the
prisoners.
13th Amendment. Yeah. This mentioned that, but however, it is up. It is up for change.
Yeah, let's change
and that is expected to create a ripple effect across states where they will also change it. So I love this so much. This reminds me of that energy we were talking about where the few that have everything and are holding it, whether it's power, money, whatever, their time to shine is being overthrown by this supposed astrological shift, and I am all for it.
Oh, I hope so. That would be great. I'm concerned. I hear something like that, and I think, okay, that's going to cut into their bottom line.
Yes.
Big time, right? What happens when their bottom line gets cut into? The first thing they do. Raise prices.
Oh, I was like, what do you mean?
Consumers going to absorb some of that cost, at least some of that cost. You know what I mean? They've already got the squeeze on us, so how is it's not going to be good? Things are not going to come to a head, I feel like, Well, I also think that's why it's important to have these conversations, because then it's, okay, so you're going to have to pay more for your McDonald's burger. Yes, McDonald's burger, because you are no longer paying for slavery. Right, it's part of the supply chain isn't a prisoner getting paid 4 cents an hour.
Yes.
Okay.
And if we really start talking about it in these terms and
who's
sharing
really
this awareness,
that's not cool, man.
And
they don't need to be making $50 an hour or anything, but 4 cents an hour.
Yeah, absolutely.
Not having any rights as a worker, that's not.
And realizing that your money can continue to do harm or can continue to do good. So, try to make those choices. We all don't have ways. Some people that live in different areas only have access to certain foods and stores. And this is in no way a target on them. They have to do what they have to do, but we don't have to. So, I don't have to.
Yeah, we make choices where we can.
Yeah. We have a new person joining us. Thank you for joining us.
Yeah, thanks for jumping in.
So some of the food chains, it was McDonald's, Walmart, Cargill. I've never heard of them. So those are supply chains of cattle slaughterhouses. That is a big thing.
Yeah.
That was what they started their article with, because these prisoners are actually their day is really, really long.
Arduous.
And yes, they travel miles to complete a day's worth of work. It's very challenging. But other brands that products are being made in our prisons has to do with Frosted Flakes cereal, Ballpark hot dogs, Gold Medal flour, Coca-Cola, Riceland rice. And they're on the stores in supermarkets like Kroger, Target, Aldi, and Whole Foods.
Oh, yeah.
And lots of these foods are also being exported to countries where the U.S. has blocked imports from because of forced or prison labor.
That's so funny.
Very hypocritical.
That's so funny.
But it does mention that this is technically legal right now because it is enshrined in the Constitution by the 13th Amendment. Slavery and involuntary servitude are banned except as punishment for a crime. Yeah. And it's being challenged on the federal level to remove some of that language, which I'm very much for, because I don't... unless your sentencing was saying this is your like this is how you will be released,
make
like your
restitution
term
to community,
right, unless that's included in that language, like you have no obligation, but obviously the force of the hand and you know other ways you are being threatened to, but you have no obligation to be working for essentially free. Like,
well,
that's
no, and
ridiculous.
what it comes down to for me is, what are we doing, right, with the prison stuff? What's the goal there? Are we, are we looking for opportunities to help enrich corporations? Is that supposed to be on our list of priorities as far as the state or federal prison system? No, right. I don't think that's anywhere on the list of priorities as far as that stuff goes, right? We want to talk about keeping the community safe from people who are a potential immediate threat. We want to talk about potentially helping reduce the recidivism rate by maybe teaching skills or providing medication or therapy. Like, there are real things we could do while inmates are going through our justice system, to try and help make them, and via them, the community, more whole. But, a lot of that stuff, from what I've seen and looked into, doesn't really happen.
No, and it did.
And so to be profiting or to be allowing for the opportunity for profit while we're failing our communities in such an egregious manner is like, that's salt in the wound, guys. Like, that we can't, that's just a bridge too far for me.
They did also share that many of these prison workers were not learning skills that would then be applicable on their release, and that it very clearly did not hold that link to entering the workforce. It's very much that these companies get cheap labor, they get tax write-offs.
And the inmates have some immediate funds. If they don't have anyone, it's pretty vital from what I've...
Yes.
To have some access to cash on the inside of a prison. So if you don't have anyone giving you money and you don't have any other, hustle or whatever inside where you're drawing pictures for people or something like that, then you would need to work. And that is going to, discourage you potentially from taking classes or doing something.
Yes. And it is noted that there's a back and forth because some people, corrections officers and other people, say that not all the work is not directly equated to skills and not going back in the community. And that may very well be true.
Absolutely.
Obviously, the source is the officers and not the workers. So, it gives me a little bit of curiosity. But I feel that nothing is ever 100% one or the other. Yeah, so I could see that I would love to hope as well that there are some skills being taught, some jobs.
Well, and there's some value just in the basics of having jobs, showing
correct.
Up, right?
And I
listening
would love,
to direction.
Yeah.
I
believe that they should be able to get their education while in prison, be able to learn skills. Like, they're not there to wither away. They're there to be better humans.
But if all we're going to do is let them work, let's make those corporations pay them a more reasonable wage, I guess.
Yes.
I don't know. I don't know that we should be letting that happen that at all, really, though. It seems like a silly, I don't know.
It seems like there's too much room to get away with.
Like, at some point in an inmate's stay, if they're there long enough, maybe it's part of, a re-entry program. But then I would be expecting those corporations to retain that inmate's employment once they're released, and I imagine a lot of corporations are going to have a problem with that aspect of we'll partner to get the benefits of the prison inmate, whatever program, because, well, now you're having to actually give these people a chance to have a life outside of jail.
Yes, and one thing that was mentioned is that some of the areas that they are working, not just with food but firefighting, especially out west, they are it is inmates who are putting out these wildfires.
Yeah. Heard that.
And they are getting accurate training, but also getting the message to, like, your life doesn't matter as much as someone else.
True.
Obviously there's a need to fill those roles, but we should be looking at how we treat the people in those roles, and we allow them to live meaningful lives before we say, well, nobody wants this, so we're just going to give it to somebody that doesn't matter in society.
Yeah, no,
that's not how we should be operating.
Yeah, there's an issue with that. With labeling anybody like, oh, well, you can be designated to do this
Yes.
life endangering work. Like, that's
not
you're
cool.
you're walking the line of sending people to like gas chambers and stuff, right? Like, there is a huge difference there. So
yeah, you don't
you're
have
just picking
control.
people out for it. It's different if it's like, hey, look, it's a job that has to be done, so like there's going to be a lot of, I don't know what a good way, like maybe you pay people an insane, right? Where's the free market on that? I thought the free market was supposed to step in and fix everything, so there should be some way, right?
Yeah.
Like what? But how does that not?
But there are many people that would do these jobs. There are many people that would do the wildfires and firefighting positions if they could be paid what they deserve to be paid for literally risking their lives.
That's my point, is that it's weird. Like, people with the capitalism argument, and I'm not arguing against it, I'm just pointing out that it doesn't give us the best version of things, and that it doesn't even give us things that are necessary. Like, a lot of fire departments don't get paid. They're on a volunteer basis, right? But then, like, I don't know, so much of the stuff is like, this isn't how we're missing something, I guess. Something big. We're missing something big, or
yeah,
something's getting twisted where it's not supposed to somehow. I don't know. But
yes.
were there other corporations to look out for on your list?
Those were the major ones.
Okay. I mean, gosh, they are major ones, and they're like, it's gonna be difficult.
Well,
to
and
try
they cover a lot of products. I know that Bounty is
goodness.
one, because that was like a paper towel product that came out during the pandemic. Some of these companies had been known for this, and it was released.
And man, how effective if people started boycotting the retailers that like carried a significant line of products from that, where it was like, oh well, we just won't do Target anymore because of how many different, like,
right, absolutely,
they're
you
involved
carry
with.
too much of this. But what I thought was important, so definitely check out the article for yourself. But one piece that really I think is worth mentioning is that many of the different prisoners that are a part of these workforces, their crimes range from shoplifting to, obviously, murder, theft, drug use, writing bad checks, all sorts of different crimes. Some had even been proven innocent later, and so the AP actually went through conversations, documents of this range of people. So there are people that are also had been proven innocent but served some time and were released, and while they were imprisoned, they were forced to work on these workforces. So these are not just people, like, people like to discredit anyone.
They're claiming forced labor?
They're claiming there are different complaints in here that said they were beaten on fields in job sites if they were not completing tasks, if they were not coming through. They don't
performing to their standards.
Yes, they are not entitled to the types of breaks and lunches and things that...
Oh, no, yeah, of course not.
Obviously, we get protection, so they're doing a lot of the dirtiest, worst types of works without some of the safety materials, hazardous materials.
Yeah, that's a really bad situation.
Yeah, especially because these are people that their time being served is the sentencing,
and
not in addition to that, work in a dangerous, hazardous environment. And then in the 10 years...
I was going to say, I wonder how many people have died, right? How many inmates have died doing stuff that, like, really they shouldn't... If OSHA could have seen it, they would have had a conniption, but, like...
Yes.
I'm sure, did they get to... And is OSHA involved? Like, because you would think, like, if it's a workplace, OSHA should have purview. They should be able to walk in, right? But they probably don't want to, because then you've got... what the Department of Labor is basically going after the Department of Corrections, and somebody's got to keep an eye on things, right? Yes. I thought that was the idea of having the multiple branches of a government so that they could kind of keep tabs on one another and be like, dude, you're like, I get it, things aren't like ideal, so things aren't always going to be rosy and perfect, but you're way out of line here, that you got to rein this in somehow. You've got to do something about this, you have people beating people in fields. Like, it's...
Yes.
We can't have that. It's 2024, man.
So apparently there was one specific case mentioned in this of an individual who was sentenced to life in prison with the possibility of parole after stealing a man's wallet at gunpoint. So in 2017, a 33-year-old was cleaning a machine near the chicken kill line in Ashland at Cock Foods, biggest poultry processing company. This man's arm got caught. He was sucked inside. His skull was crushed. He died instantly. It was a years-long legal battle where Cock Foods first argued that this individual was not technically an employee.
Because he's an inmate.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Then said his family should be barred from filing for wrongful death because the company did pay for this individual's funeral expenses. Later, the case was settled on undisclosed terms, and OSHA fined the company $19,500, saying that workers had not been given proper training and its machines had inadequate safety guards. But again, that type of fine for that type of company is like, that's a $20 bill that they write off, and they continue on, hoping they don't get caught.
Cost of doing business.
Yeah. So, I mean, I am... they have like a visual graphic. Costco, Burger King, Domino's, Sara Lee, Land O'Lakes.
Yeah, check it out. It's a big
big thing, and it's not new. Like, it wasn't new to us, but I was thrilled when I saw this popped up on my feed because it's the
such
AP
a major,
press.
such a major article. That's a big deal.
Yes, and people have been discussing this, but it's been like underground journalists. There's groups that specifically work with the prison industry, and so they've been slowly building things, but for the AP...
Yeah, to jump on board is good.
It's huge. So, AP Press...
Hopefully it's a sign of a ball starting to roll in the right direction.
Prisoners in the U.S. are part of a hidden workforce linked to hundreds of popular food brands.
Cosmo, thanks for jumping in. We're doing well.
Yeah, thank you for joining us.
Passionate conversation about the prison industrial complex.
Yeah, we'd love to hear your thoughts too.
Yeah.
Even if you're just forming your thoughts. That's the idea of this. We can always continue the conversation at a later date.
Drop them in the chat, put them in the comments at YouTube, whenever, wherever.
Email us, inspiringconversation at Gmail. Even if you disagree, that's what we
we're happy to have conversations on either end, and
we want to know people's thoughts, and we want to engage, and
maybe learn something.
Yeah, it helps us grow too. Yeah. So.
But we're gonna go because I'm beat.
Yes. Thank you for joining us. Have a wonderful rest of your
evening.
Have a good
night. See you tomorrow.
Day. Peace out.